I speak to you this morning in an hour of anguish for our nation. Just before 9 p.m. last night, an American Airlines regional jet carrying 60 passengers and 4 crew collided with an Army Black Hawk helicopter carrying 3 military service members over the Potomac River in Washington, D.C., while on final approach to Reagan National Airport. Both aircraft crashed instantly and were immediately submerged into the icy waters of the Potomac. Real tragedy.
Flight with 64 people on board colliding midair with a Black Hawk military helicopter on a training exercise. The tragedy all caught on camera.
Well, the 2 aircraft crashed into the frigid Potomac River near Reagan National, where a massive rescue operation is unfolding at this hour. And we can tell you right now that at least 12 bodies have been recovered so far.
And the jet that was involved here, it was Flight 5342, American Airlines, coming from Wichita, Kansas, just about to land. And we've learned this morning that members of the figure skating community who were returning from a camp held at this weekend's national championships were on that plane.
This happened just before 9 p.m. The D.C. Fire Department says they got the first alarm at 2058, so 8:58, and they swamped the area, flooded the area with emergency personnel, firefighters and rescue personnel, police from D.C., from Virginia, from Maryland, Coast Guard apparatus, helicopters moved in from across the entire region looking for any victims, but that water is absolutely terribly cold. It's murky, it's dark, and it is shallow. It's about 7 to 8 feet.
The massive search and rescue mission was underway throughout the night, leveraging every asset at our disposal. And I have to say, the local, state, federal, military, including the United States Coast Guard in particular, they've done a phenomenal job.
Do believe, according to the air traffic control transcript, that controllers did tell that chopper pilot to be aware of the regional jet coming in and that chopper pilot should in fact pass behind the regional jet. But the video that you're showing shows what appears to be the chopper pilot literally coming up and hitting the rear of that regional jet as the jet was approaching runway 33 here at Reagan Airport. We do know that they recovered a piece of the fuselage, a pretty big chunk of the fuselage. Reportedly, the fuselage had broken in half. Again, 64 people on board. At this hour, we have no reports of pulling any survivors from the water. We have only reports that they have recovered some of the remains of the victims. As for the helicopter, a Black Hawk helicopter, 3 crew members on board, and one report last night was it was literally upside down in the water, and divers were struggling to stabilize it before they could go into the chopper.
Here is the moment of that midair collision. This is video from EarthCam. We have, of course, been getting updates from officials, local, federal, state level, emergency response crews all night long. But here's what we know so far.
We're told 60 passengers and 4 crew members were on board when the American Airlines flight 5342 went down. We can tell you more than a dozen bodies have been recovered, and right now we have no reports of any survivors. We can also tell you that aboard that military helicopter there were 3 soldiers. The collision, midair collision, happened as that plane was trying to land just seconds away from landing at Reagan National Airport. And according to the Associated Press, that helicopter was a Black Hawk. It was conducting a training flight.
It's too early to tell what may have been involved, what may have caused this accident. We need to wait for the methodical work of the NTSB. It appears that you had a helicopter flying along an established low-level route on that east side of the Potomac River and communicating with Reagan air traffic controllers. And you had the American Eagle plane on final approach also communicating with controllers. The NTSB is going to be interviewing these controllers. They're going to be listening very carefully to the audio of the air traffic controllers.
So quick, so fast, it was mobilized immediately. The work is now shifted to a recovery mission. Sadly, there are no survivors. This was a dark and excruciating night in our nation's capital and in our nation's history, and a tragedy of terrible proportions. As one nation, we grieve for every precious soul that has been taken from us so suddenly. And we are a country of, really, we are in mourning.
Again, we just don't know, Savannah. This helicopter could have been behind the Canadair regional jet. So in that case, the pilots couldn't visually see, but on their cockpit screens, there could be a traffic collision alerting system that could depict targets. But as you indicate, this airplane was on a short final. It was coming straight into runway 33 on a short final approach. And at that point, you're looking at the runway and things are busy in the cockpit. You're monitoring your instruments. You're concentrating on setting down on the runway. And that could be a distraction or could take away the attention of scanning for other traffic.
We've also heard from the U.S. Figure Skating Organization. They did confirm that there were members of their organization on board. I'll go over part of their statement. They said that they confirmed several members of our skating community were sadly aboard American Airlines Flight 5342, which collided with a helicopter yesterday evening in Washington, D.C. These athletes, coaches, and family members were returning home from the National Development Camp held in conjunction with the U.S. Figure Skating Championships in Wichita, Kansas. And they are devastated by this unspeakable tragedy. Now, we know that President Trump is aware of this. He did issue a statement, and now
this morning, the search continues for any survivors after a commercial airliner collided with a helicopter midair while approaching Reagan National Airport.
Crash. This is Alert 3. Crash.
A live stream from an EarthCam web camera capturing the moment of impact. A fireball lighting up the sky. Both aircrafts then crashing into the Potomac River, making rescue efforts difficult.
The water that we're operating in is about 8 feet deep. There is wind, there is pieces of ice out there, so it's just dangerous and hard to work in.
It happened just after 8:45 last night. Authorities say the jet was inbound from Wichita, Kansas, and making its final approach to Reagan with 60 passengers and 4 crew members on board. Officials say an additional 3 Army soldiers were on the Black Hawk.
From the Department of Transportation and FAA's perspective, we are going to offer full support to those on the ground, to the mayor, but also to the NTSB, who is going to be conducting the investigation in this matter.
Ari Schulman was driving home when he looked up and saw the plane falling from the sky.
It was illuminated bright yellow underneath, and there was a spray of sparks on the underside of the plane, and I knew something was wrong because it was very, very close to the ground. It was maybe 80 or 100 feet above the ground. Banked all the way to the right.
More emergency personnel rushing to the scene overnight, officials scrambling boats and divers hoping to pull any possible survivors out of the frigid water. The investigation now underway as officials try to determine what happened. American Airlines CEO responding to the tragedy overnight.
I'd like to express our deep sorrow about these events.
This is a very busy corridor, and when you are in this area, you will notice you don't see any air traffic over Washington, D.C. if you're a tourist, but you get to the river and you'll start to see a lot of air traffic, and that's where the planes are coming in at the same time. So, to be working air traffic controller here at Reagan National, you already have to be a good controller. You've got to be on your game. We've had some close calls here in recent years at Reagan National with planes getting too close to each other, and some of them have had to suddenly wave off at the last minute, abort a landing, if you will, abort a takeoff at the last minute. And we've had some issues where that was either a pilot error or air traffic control error. You've got to be on your game at this airport. So there's going to be a lot of focus right now on the tower and then on the pilots. And was there a breakdown in communication?
Right.
We must have only the highest standards for those who work in our aviation system. I changed the Obama standards from very mediocre at best to extraordinary. You remember that. Only the highest aptitude, they have to be the highest intellect and psychologically superior people were allowed to qualify for air traffic controllers. That was not so prior to getting there. When I arrived in 2016, I made that change very early on because I always felt this was a job that, and other jobs too, but this was a job that had to be superior intelligence, and we didn't really have that, and we had it. And then when I left office and Biden took over, he changed them back to lower than ever before. I put safety first. Obama, Biden, and the Democrats put policy first. And they put politics at a level that nobody's ever seen. Then my administration will set the highest possible bar for aviation safety. We have to have our smartest people. It doesn't matter what they look like, how they speak, who they are. It matters intellect, talent, the word talent. They have to be talented, naturally talented geniuses.
Last night at 8:48, the control tower sounded an alert, which alerts responders to respond to a report of an aircraft crash on or near the airport. So we are now at a point where we are switching from a rescue operation to a recovery operation. At this point, we don't believe there are any survivors from this accident.
You know, Reagan Airport is a very busy airport. It's not the busiest or the biggest in the country. However, it has the single busiest runway in the country, runway 1. And this was coming into runway 33 right next to it. This is a shorter haul flight, of course. It's a regional jet. Runway 1 usually takes longer jets. So this is coming in for a shorter landing, and it never made it to the runway.
Yeah. Let's try. No. Yeah, it does that loop where it goes down the Potomac, and it does that northern approach.
Yeah.
As it comes up along the Potomac, as the flight paths generally do, coming up into Reagan National Airport, and right around there, which again, where you see where that green line stops, generally right around that area in Southwest DC. The first calls, it had said First Street Southwest. At least that would mean maybe somebody called it in from First Street Southwest. But
Chris, we're talking about a commercial airline crash. This is something that we've not talked about in the United States since a regional flight in Buffalo in 2009. This was an unparalleled period of aviation safety that appears to have come to an end tonight.
And we also understand, Chris, I believe you're probably aware as well, that DCA Airport has been shut down for the better part of since this happened, I don't even know, about half an hour ago?
Correct. They are going to suspend operations while the search is ongoing. The most important thing right now is that search. You don't want to complicate it with air traffic coming in and out of that airport. There are few regions in the country better equipped to respond to a major alert like this than the Washington, D.C. area. You're going to have a flood of resources. The question is now, can they get to people who survived what appears to be a midair collision just outside of Washington Reagan Airport over the Potomac River tonight?
Fire Command. The accident happened in the river. Both the helicopter and the plane crashed in the river.
The jet had been just seconds from touching down. Family of those on board were in the airport waiting for their loved ones to arrive home.
I'm just praying that somebody's pulling her out of the river right now as we speak. That's all I can pray for. I'm just praying to God.
Hamad's wife had messaged him as the plane started to descend.
She texted me that they were landing in 20 minutes.
300 first responders have worked through the night.
The focus now is rescuing people, and that's what all of our personnel are focused on.
But from both submerged aircraft, there's been no signs of life. 19 bodies have been pulled from the bitterly cold water. Alongside the rescue and recovery mission, an investigation is already underway.
Our cooperation is without pause, and we want to learn everything we can about today's events.
The plane took off from Wichita, Kansas. It flew for about 2 hours and 10 minutes to Washington. At the same time it approached the runway, the air traffic controller radioed the Black Hawk, referring to it as Pat 25 and the jet as CRJ.
Pat 25, get the CRJ in flight. Pat 25, pass on this CRJ.
Seconds later, they collided.
There's every reason to indicate that the jet was on a proper approach. He was on his final approach, about 375 feet to runway 33. The question is, what was the helicopter doing there?
The president has also pointed blame. Why didn't the helicopter go up or down or turn? Why didn't the control tower tell the helicopter what to do? This is a bad situation that looks like it should have been prevented.
How these two came to be in exactly the same place at the same time is, of course, the question. This is one of the most heavily controlled pieces of airspace in the United States, probably in the world for that matter, because it's right adjacent to Washington National, or rather Washington itself. And we have a situation in which this could never supposedly occur because of the causative control. That's one of the things that the NTSB will be looking at almost immediately. Matter of fact, they're already, I'm sure, on the scene. But this airplane went in. You can see that on the video. It went down immediately. The helicopter went down immediately, and that is questionable as to whether or not that kind of an impact with the water would be survivable.
And John, we're looking.
Our fire department, DC Fire and EMS, supported by fire departments and police departments from across the Washington metropolitan region, are executing a rescue operation in the Potomac River. They are working diligently in very dark and cold conditions, cold water, to execute this rescue operation.
I think for all of us, we want to extend our thoughts and prayers to those individuals who were impacted by the events tonight, their families. We know this is a very difficult time for all of them. I want to join the mayor and everyone here to extend our thank you to the first responders who, again, in very difficult situations and environments, are out there searching and attempting to rescue.
At 8:58, the first units arrived on the scene and found an aircraft in the water and began rescue operations. This incident has grown. There's currently about 300 responders working. We have boats from all throughout the region, police and fire boats. We have a mutual aid agreement in Washington, D.C., the National Capital Region Mutual Aid Agreement administered by the Metropolitan Washington Council of Governments, and we're all operating under that. We're operating under a unified command. Everybody's together.
Our units immediately responded and deployed 3 boats and immediately called for mutual aid resources. Again, as Chief Donnelly said, it's an active operation that's going to last many hours as we continue to work through recovery efforts and rescue operations. This will be ongoing for quite a while. Our thoughts and prayers are with the families.
First off, I want to send my condolences to the families of this tragic. It's bad, and you know, we come out here every day for the past 2 years. It's been peaceful.
And so I'm asking you, does this affect how you feel when it comes to travel at all, knowing that this happened?
I'm scared now, even more scared.
Why?
We actually come down here, me and my wife, we've been coming out, like I said, for the past 2 years, and we've been processing, watching the planes take off and come in and take off, because that's one of my fears, you know. I'm afraid of heights, and being in the air is unbelievable. But seeing something that close to home, it hurts.
What do you think that officials could do more of to maybe ease some of those concerns?
It's going to be hard, honestly.
It'll just take some time, right?
It'll take time, patience. Hopefully we all get through this just as well as the family do.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. I mean, and you feel for the families. I mean, they obviously wouldn't think something like this is going to happen either. And so now all of a sudden there's, 65 people or thereabouts that have to deal with what happened.
Regardless of what happened.
What do you make of what happened here?
It don't add up, because how did an Army helicopter and an airplane crash? They should have been on separate routes. It don't make sense to me how they crashed and collided like that.
But of course, it clearly wasn't routine. And we had 2 aircraft in the river with 67 fatalities. So this investigation is going to be critically important to understand exactly what happened, so that then we can make sure it never happens again. Air travel in the United States is the safest form of travel of any of them, and it's the safest air travel in the world. And yet this horrific accident happened. And I also just want to thank our first responders. Never before has anyone seen the kind of response that was shown last night. The Coast Guard was on the scene immediately with vessels and people in the water. All of a sudden, first responders from all over Virginia and D.C. and Maryland arrived immediately, and they all went to work sacrificing their own safety in order to try to save others.
Because if it wasn't the same height, you could have gone under it or over it, and nobody realized, or they didn't say that it's at the same height. At the same height, it still wouldn't have been great, but you would have missed it by quite a bit. Could have been 1,000 feet higher, it could have been 200 feet lower, but it was exactly at the same height, and somebody should have been able to point that out. You had a plane that was following a track, which is a track that every other plane followed. And I don't imagine, I know I've heard today that they might have been following the preceding plane, which was pretty close, but not that close, the preceding plane. But you wouldn't have even been able to see that because of the direction that the helicopter was coming in at. So you had a confluence of bad decisions that were made.
You made an important point that when we deal with safety, we can only accept the best and the brightest in positions of safety that impact the lives of our loved ones, our family members. And I think you make a really important point on that, Mr. President. That is the motto of your presidency, the best and the brightest.
We will have the best and brightest in every position possible. As you said in your inaugural, it is colorblind and merit-based. The best leaders possible, whether it's flying Black Hawks and flying airplanes, leading platoons, or in government. The era of DEI is gone at the Defense Department, and we need the best and brightest, whether it's in our air traffic control, or whether it's in our generals, or whether it's throughout government. So thank you for your leadership and courage on that, sir.
We want to hire the best people because we want the best people at air traffic control, and we want to make sure we have enough people at air traffic control who are actually competent to do the job. If you go back to just some of the headlines over the past 10 years, you have many hundreds of people suing the government because they would like to be air traffic controllers, but they were turned away because of the color of their skin. That policy ends under Donald Trump's leadership because safety is the first priority of our aviation industry. Thank you, Mr. President.
It was based on vision. We had a lot of people that saw what was happening. You had some people that knew what was happening. There was some warnings, but the warnings were given very, very late. You know, those warnings were given very late. It was almost as they were given a few seconds later, there was the crash. It should have been brought up earlier. But the people in the helicopter should have seen where they were going. You want to be at different heights. I see it all the time when I'm flying. You have planes going in the opposite. They're always lower, we're higher, or they're... So if somehow there's a screw up, there's not going to be a tragedy. It'll be close, but you know, there's never going to be a tragedy if you're at a different elevation. For whatever reason, they were at the same elevation. And also, from the American Airlines Center, he's along the track that every plane is along. You say, what was a helicopter doing in that track? It's very sad. But visually, somebody should have been able to see and taken that helicopter out of play, and they should have been at a different height. So if we find that people aren't mentally competent, you see the language. The language is put out by them. And if you see that, I'm not going to bore you by reading it again, but these are not people that should be doing this particular job. They'd be very good for certain jobs, but not people that should be doing this particular job.
The helicopter may have been using night vision equipment. Was there any
I heard that. We don't know. We're going to know that pretty soon. It may change your view plan if you do have the night vision, so it's very possible that could have happened.
Many of these girls here this morning, and I say girls just because that happens to be the skaters that talked to us today, the first thing they did when they got up this morning, they got up early around 5 a.m., they picked up their phones, they looked at social media, and they really just couldn't believe what they saw. Here's some of what they had to tell me this morning.
I was shocked. I thought it wasn't real, because I see these people every day, and now they're caught.
I first saw this on Instagram when someone posted a story about this plane crash, and I realized, oh, this might be my friends, because there was only one flight from Wichita to here, and when their messages didn't go through, I was speechless. I woke up like every other morning. It was like 5:30, and I was looking at the news, and I saw like the live updates going on, and I saw that the ISU had put out a statement that there were figure skaters on the plane, and my heart kind of dropped. I was like, oh my gosh, what if my friends are on the plane? Like, what is going on?
Slowly, it's not the kind of thing you think is ever going to happen, so it doesn't really feel real. Well, we just went to Harris Teeter to buy flowers and stuff. Like, Brielle's favorite color is pink, so we look for pink flowers and stuff like that. Tell them to put there for them.
American Eagle flight coming from Wichita, Kansas into Reagan National Airport has been identified as 28-year-old Samuel Lely. We understand that he is from the Charlotte area of North Carolina. And here, our reporter down at Fox Atlanta writing, the father of the pilot on board the American Airlines plane identifies him as 28-year-old Sam Lely. His father, who is also a pilot, says he was engaged to be married, started his training in 2019, was the first officer on that flight that left from Wichita. And of course,
that is, the view out from the runway right now. As you can see, there's an American Airlines plane that just went by. There are some United planes that have also just landed, and they are disembarking their passengers. They are actually putting new passengers on as well. So flight operations have resumed at Ronald Reagan Washington National Airport. But in our conversations also with airport officials today, one thing they are stressing is that you should contact your airline about the status of your flight.